This is Nick Nielsen, Mad Scientist of Muscle, and what I've got for you today here is a review of the Mini-Elliptical, the Under Desk Elliptical from Yosuda Bikes. Now, this is a nice little unit. It's very compact, and it's something that's designed to fit under your desk as you're doing it. Now, clearly I'm not sitting on a desk right now here, but I will show you this in relation to my own desk upstairs here when I'm partway through this review. So, what I want to do here is kind of run through what this does, the features and the benefits, and how this thing basically works. So it is a plug-in, it doesn't run on batteries, so you will need to have this plugged in. It has a power switch on the back, and it turns on. Now, one of the really cool things I like about this is it has a remote control, and you can actually attach it like right inside. It's got a little nook specifically for the remote control, and very simple, very easy to use remote control. The cool thing about this is all you have to do is push this little start button. You can see that right here. That orange button. And the machine actually starts moving for you. So the real target audience for this is, I think, at least for me, my experience with it is people who need circulation improvements, who have mobility issues, who need some passive exercise, or who primarily need work kind of in the lower legs. Because what you're seeing here when I'm using this, my thighs here are not really moving much at all. This is primarily a lower leg training machine. So you can speed this up. I said, you can speed this up. That was my fault, user error. I actually had to switch over to the speed thing on here. And you can crank this up a bit. It's not going to go too fast, but this is 5, and I think it goes all the way up to 10. So this is passively moving my feet. And I'll bump this all the way up to 10 so you can get an idea of how fast this thing goes. And literally this is me just letting the machine go. Now, if you listen carefully, you can hear the heels of my shoes contacting the steps, the foot plates. That's because unless you physically push down to keep your feet flat on these things, your heels will get kind of popped up as you're doing it. And what you'll find, even though this is called an elliptical, the movement is actually more circular. So, I mean, there's no such thing as a circular machine, technically, I guess, but this is more akin to that. Now, this is forward, that's where it automatically defaults to when it starts. Hit the direction button, it stops, and it starts moving your feet backwards. So, and this will default back to the same speed setting you were at. So I'll actually bring that back down a bit here. So, this is the very slowest, and you can see it's nice and slow. It's not going to be too fast for somebody who's got limited mobility. What this is going to do, because of the foot plate angles, and like I said, with the heels kind of popping out, if you basically force your heels to stay on, it's actually going to really help with circulation in your ankles, and with that ankle mobility that this is going to be most beneficial for. Now, so this is backwards. You can also use this to set the time of your workout. It defaults to 30 minutes. You can just hit the time button, and I'll show a close-up of this here too. But you can basically increase, decrease the time depending on what you want to, how long you want to go for, I should say. Now, this is the passive mode, so you can actually do resistance mode as well. So what you're going to do here, hit that orange button and stop it. Now there's a resistance button as well here, so you can click that and then bump up the resistance. So the manual kind of covers it. The resistance part is not super self-explanatory. You actually have to pause it, hit the resistance button, and then hit the play button again, the orange button again, to basically activate it to start going. Now once you do it a few times, it's not that hard to figure out though. But the instructions do a nice job of telling you how to use it. So this is the lowest resistance setting. You can crank this up. I'm going all the way to 10. And I was actually surprised at how much resistance you can actually get from this. So this is actually, I actually have to really push in order to get these pedals and keep these pedals moving. If you really want some good calf training, some non-eccentric calf train, so this is basically all push. This actually really works. If you need to develop circulation in your calves, which can be beneficial for trying to build the calves, trying to recover with calf training, to do a lot of running, this is going to help to strengthen the area. Now, you can also go back in the other direction and work the tibialis anterior. So, as you can see, because I'm moving backwards, there's a more pronounced dorsiflexion, which is basically the toes coming up this way. So to get more complete calf workout and more complete lower leg workout, you reverse the direction, and this actually gives you a nice workload directly on these front shin muscles, which work to stabilize and kind of counterbalance the forces that are going in the calves. So if you're a runner, this can actually be highly beneficial, because when I used to be a long distance runner, I used to get shin splints, and they're horribly painful. It's like someone stabbing you in the front of the shin whenever you take a step. Absolutely a nightmare to deal with. This can actually help by strengthening those muscles very easily. So this is something you can do sitting down and not have to use a whole tibialis anterior raise machine. You can set this on here and literally get some good resistance. Now, you can also do this with the passive resistance as well if you're looking for more passive recovery, more passive circulation. So for somebody who's rehabbing an injury, who's looking to recover, someone who has limited mobility, perhaps seniors or perhaps people who are trying to come back and build up their walking strength, this is a nice little machine to do that with. It's not going to give you a tremendous cardio workout, simply because primarily the action here is in the lower legs. You're not really involving the big muscles of the quads, the hamstrings, or the glutes very much at all. There's a little bit of quads, but not so much that I would say that this is, substantial cardio training. You're going to get some, but it's not a real cardio piece of equipment. This is more movement, this is more mobility, this is more active recovery than really challenging cardio. The Yosuda bikes, they have an under desk stationary bike that I've also reviewed. That would be more in line with something if you're looking for more cardio training. So that actually has a wider pedal base, pedal diameter, so you can actually get more movement in the quads, the hamstrings, and even a little bit of the glutes, but that's going to be better for cardio. So I'm going to give you a close-up of the machine here as I'm kind of going through a few of the features as well. Alright, so here, turning on the machine, takes a second, and then you can see it's coming up with the time. So you can press that and you can change the time you want to do something. So, I'm going down in 5-minute blocks. You can go back up in 5-minute blocks. Literally however long you want to do this, you can set it to go and automatically turn off when you're done. So feet go on, you press the play button, and this is going to start moving the pedals for you at the very lowest speed. So if this is all you really want this machine for, it makes it very simple. So literally just turn it on, hit this orange play button, and the machine is going to start doing its thing. Now, you'll notice on this there's no foot straps. Some machines that do similar functions like this, the passive movements, some of them have foot straps. I don't think this is needed. If you have very stiff ankles, you may find that your heels come up quite a bit. It's not going to hurt you, and I don't think that's a big deal at all. But it is something to be aware of, that this movement kind of forces flexion and extension of the ankles, as long as you keep the feet kind of flat on these pads. So it's very comfortable. I don't think that in terms of what its function is and what it's for, I think it does it quite well. So I'm going to show you what this looks like under desk conditions. So this little elliptical fits under the desk quite nicely. The only thing you are going to have to be aware of is the height of the desk. So let me flip the camera up and see. You can see I've got a pull-out drawer here that contains my laptop, my keyboard, and my mouse. In order to use this elliptical with this setup, I actually have to, take this keyboard, set it on top of the desk, take the mouse, set it on top of the desk, push this drawer back, and then I have enough room here for my knees to clear and actually use this thing. So I found the same thing when I was using and reviewing the stationary bike that they have. In order to actually use it, I had to push myself back from the desk a little bit so that this drawer was not here. If you have a desk that doesn't have the pull-out drawer, surface is a bit higher, you're probably going to be just fine. And so that is the Mini-Elliptical from Yosuda Bikes. Now, if you have a very low desk, as I showed you a minute ago, your knees are probably going to contact that. So this, in that case, you might need a desk either that's a little bit higher, or pull yourself back out from the desk and somehow use the desk a little bit differently if you want to do it while you're working at a desk. So, you know, if you're sitting at a kitchen table, this is a good option for that. A little higher surface is going to be probably what you need. Now, in terms of overall function, I think it does its job quite well. I think for what it's designed for and what it's targeted for, which is basically some light movement, some passive movement, and ankle mobility, and a very basic elliptical kind of movement, specifically for people who are looking for basically that passive movement or some light rehab kind of exercise. It does work up to some decent resistance if you want to do manual resistance on there, so it does have benefits in terms of building some strength as well. So that is, again, the Mini-Elliptical from Yosuda Bikes.